Good afternoon everyone, Briareos Kerensky here to continue to explore what the European editions of the last 3 big titles for the Wii offer. Today I'll take a look at The Last Story, a game directed by Hironobu Sakaguchi, as the front cover proudly announces. I guess it doesn't need any kind of introduction, and neither Nobuo Uematsu does, so let's get on with this unboxing. The other box is big, larger than Pandora's Tower, and also heavier. The layout follows the same pattern, with a nice illustration and huge PEGI ratings on the front cover, with a multi-language description of the game on the back side. Contents are listed on the right side of the box. Game, the Premium Steelbook, the Illustrations Artbook, and the Premium Soundtrack. Before inspecting the contents, I want to point out that the cover uses a two-tone printing for the background and the actual illustration. If you can notice, the illustration has a glossier finish than the rest of the cover. Pandora's Tower used the same trick, and it was my fault for not pointing this out, but The Last Story makes a better use of this glossy, non-glossy finish. Now on to opening the box. And yes, I had a little accident while first trying to remove these huge adhesive pads sealing the box, so I will open the box from its underside. Just a quick note, these pads can be safely removed, just don't think that their last third part will simply peel without damaging the box. To avoid any other damage, I have pre-cut the lower pad and elements of The Last Story. Rather beefy multi-language instruction manual, the game, and the steelbook case, which, just like Pandora's Tower, is empty, and there is space for 2 discs. The cover of this steelbook case is different from the game and the other box. Moving on to the game, I'm curious if it's gonna be a 2-disc adventure. By the way, front cover and back cover. Inside, just 1 disc. I suppose the second space in the steelbook is for the soundtrack. On the opposite side there is the English manual and the usual load of Nintendo advertisements. The manual is in full color and starts off with a quick introduction of the game's story and its characters, before getting on to game controls. Speaking of manuals, the huge multi-language booklet contains 9 languages, opposed to Pandora's Tower's 6. Not all languages have localized screenshots, but German, French, Italian and Spanish do. All other languages use English screenshots. I really like Nintendo of Europe's effort on this kind of manuals. Translating the text and printing it in black and white would have met the minimum requirements, but instead everything is in full color and with localized screenshots. Another well done on the manual's front. Last, but absolutely not least, here's the Elements of the Last Story box, featuring an incredible classy packaging. I must say that this is the kind of attention to detail I expect from anything labeled as limited edition. And I haven't mentioned this before, but the game has a reversible cover, which is essentially this box front illustration. Let's take a look inside. only 7 tracks on the CD, which shouldn't come as a surprise as not many editions feature a complete soundtrack. And here we're speaking about Nobuo Uematsu, so the musical score will last at least 2 CDs. The soundtrack cover and labels are all dedicated to the leading female character, and if I am able to remove the jacket without damaging it, there is a short foreword by Sakaguchi and Uematsu. On to the artbook, and I just hope there won't be any spoilers like in Pandora's Tower. Hardcover, and the first 2 pages are glued together. Great. With my luck I'll end up tearing them apart, so let's move on. There is some art and titles are a nice touch, but binding is not exactly the best. Some proper concept art. Looks like we are clear of spoilers for now. And looks like we are. Closing word from Sakaguchi along with some more bad binding. And the last 2 pages are again glued together. So, what to say about the Last Story limited edition? Again, Nintendo of Europe not only goes for an empty steelbook, but for a steelbook with spaces for 2 discs. Now, I understand that some will ditch the standard casing for the CD and the game, but the steelbook itself isn't big enough to safely store all manuals and covers, and with safely I mean without the internal clips biting into the paper. Also, this leaves the artbook alone in a good box that also lists the CD, so I can fully understand why Nintendo chose to go this way. The artbook features more interesting contents than Pandora's Tower, but my copy isn't well binded and I really hope it's just the defect of my copy, otherwise some more quality check should have gone toward it. The art cover, the quality of the paper and the contents are good, but can't be fully enjoyed when you can't browse through the book. And I must say, the way the artbook is really lowers the total impact this edition has. The inner box, the huge multi-language manual, which I'm not sure if it's included in the standard edition, and small but well-presented soundtrack, all point to a good edition that is really brought down by what I hope is a bad copy and not the standard. If you get a non-broken copy, then you have an excellent limited edition. Before closing, I'd like to promote Operation Rainfall. It's not breaking news, but it's partially thanks to this operation that Xenoblade Chronicles and The Last Story have reached US shores, and now they are trying to bring Pandora's Tower in US territory as well, and unlike the original petition, they are trying to pitch potential publishers, not just Nintendo of America. This time they are asking for money, but similar to Kickstarter tiers, there are rewards for donating. The address is on screen and you can click the YouTube caption. Go and support them. I am, and I live in Europe. This is not just to have one more game in my collection, it's to have Nintendo of America, I apologize for the mildly harsh words, unplug their heads from their butts. Nintendo of Europe has been much more active to support their fans. Disaster Report and Another Code are still unaccounted for on American soil, and Rhythm Heaven in Europe will have both English and Japanese songs, not counting the limited editions for Last Story and Pandora's Tower. Really, Nintendo, show your fans that you care. I once told that color manuals are a big deal to show your customers that you can lose some profit in spite of making people happy. Actually giving people the games they are asking for is much more important. Such petitions shouldn't even exist. Games must be fully localized. And while we are at it, Sega, Valkyria Chronicles 3. Please. Briareos Kerensky, over and out.